When I arrived at the metro station, it was well past midnight. The city above was quiet, but the station felt as if it existed in a separate dimension. Shadows clung to corners, and the few lights that still worked cast long, uneasy reflections on the stone walls. The air was damp and cold, chilling my skin despite the coat I wore. Empty benches lined the platform, their metal frames cold and unwelcoming. Dust swirled faintly in the light, disturbed only by my steps. The turnstiles opened quietly when I swiped my ticket, but the echo of my footsteps filled the vast emptiness of the station. Metal tracks stretched into darkness, glinting under dim illumination. I felt the weight of the silence pressing down, each step reverberating unnaturally. The faint hum of the distant train teased my ears, but it never arrived, leaving only tension behind. When the train finally pulled in, its doors opened slowly. The car was empty, pristine, and eerily still. I sat down and immediately felt the chill of the interior. The silence was overwhelming. I could hear my own heartbeat, the subtle scrape of my coat against the seat, even the soft shift of my fingers on the cold metal. The train lurched forward, deliberately slow, as if testing the boundaries of perception. We moved in oppressive silence. The rhythmic clatter of the rails echoed against the concrete walls of the tunnel, magnifying the emptiness. The metallic screech of the train wheels became a haunting symphony. I pressed my hands together, trying to focus, yet my eyes darted to every shadow, every reflection, expecting something to appear. Suddenly, the train stopped. The lights flickered and dimmed. Outside, the platform was empty, motionless. A figure or perhaps a shadow seemed to dart across the tracks, but disappeared the instant I tried to focus. My pulse surged. Was it a trick of the light, or something real? The air inside the train grew colder, every breath turning visible, every movement magnified in the silence. A door somewhere in the car creaked. I froze, heart hammering, but when I looked, no one was there. The presence was invisible, yet I felt it like a weight, pressing down, as if the train itself were aware. I moved slightly in my seat, and the silence deepened, reacting to me. Every small noise, every shifting metal sound, became an intimate, unnerving interaction with an unseen force. Then, the announcement system turned on. The voice was muffled, distorted, almost alien. Words formed and dissolved in the air, leaving only strange tones and hums. I blinked rapidly, scanning the car, but every seat remained empty, every reflection normal. The echoes of the distorted announcements lingered, bending perception and planting doubt in my mind. The tunnels seemed endless. The flickering lights, the rhythmic hum of the train, and the cold metal seats created an oppressive sense of timelessness. My watch read 1:43, yet minutes appeared to move backward, or stall entirely. The world outside seemed warped. I gripped the seat, trying to anchor myself to reality, but every shadow suggested a lurking presence, every sound a hidden watcher. At one point, I looked out of the window. A figure stood on the tracks, human-like, yet its outline was distorted, incomplete. My breath caught. I leaned closer, and the figure dissolved into the darkness as the train moved again. The moment passed, yet the memory clung to my mind, a residue of fear. As the train approached the final station, I expected relief. The doors opened, and I stepped onto the platform. Movement returned, people walking quickly, heading toward other trains, checking phones, talking quietly. The ordinary returned, but a subtle dissonance remained. I remembered the car being empty, yet now every seat was full, passengers chatting, relaxed. Reality shifted around me, blending perception with memory. The station lights, the crowd, the train's movement all seemed perfectly ordinary. And yet, a strange feeling lingered, unexplainable. It was as if I had briefly wandered beyond time, into a place where boundaries of reality were flexible. The chill in the air, the shadows, the silent tunnels all felt imbued with awareness. I walked slowly toward the station exit, noticing small details. A bag that hadn't been there moments ago. A bench slightly displaced, the faint smell of damp concrete mingled with metal. Each detail reinforced the impression that the station had a memory, a consciousness of its own, holding on to traces of travelers long gone, and perhaps something more elusive. The experience had left me wary. Every metallic screech, every echo, Every flickering light now suggested an invisible presence, waiting, observing. The metro, usually mundane and utilitarian, revealed itself as a labyrinth of perception, capable of altering senses, bending reality, and planting seeds of doubt, even in the rational mind. I stepped out into the night, the normal sounds of the city returning gradually. Car engines, distant voices, a dog barking, all familiar and comforting. Yet inside, a tension remained. The tunnels, the tracks, the empty seats, and the fleeting figure haunted my thoughts. Even in the safety of open air, I felt the lingering presence of the unseen travelers I had briefly shared space with. Later, recalling every moment, I understood that the metro is never truly just transportation. It is a conduit through which the ordinary brushes against the uncanny. Shadows linger, echoes distort, and time bends imperceptibly. And sometimes, when you believe yourself alone, you may encounter something unseen. Something that leaves a mark, not on the body, but on the mind.